Blog Talk Radio.
Raw living is a state of mind, a way of being in alignment with your body. Raw living means you put yourself and your body first. Your host, Geeta Sidhu Robb, is the founder of Nosh Detox, located in the UK. They offer innovative raw food smoothies sold across Europe. You experience it in your skin, your body, and your mind. And now it's time for Living Raw Radio.
All right, everybody. All right. Hey, everybody, how's it going? You have a great day. I'm Nate, the producer. I'm here to let everybody know that this is Living Raw Radio, and our normal host, Geeta Sidhu Robb, is not going to be able to be here tonight due to life changes. This is a live radio program, so as you know, because it is live and we do live a life outside of radio, sometimes it intrudes upon our very nature of what we try to do here. So I was asked to kind of lead in a little bit to a recorded session that we had, and they were nice enough there at the offices to send me a recording, and the recording has to do with one of our nutritionists, Angie, and this is Lunch with Angie and how to lose weight. Now, just to preface this a little bit, we're going to have that part of the program, and then we are going to play an extended clip of a prior interview that we had about Buddhism afterwards to fill the rest of the time. Now, if you're new to the show, please make sure that you favorite and friend the show here on Blog Talk Radio. I know that there's a lot of people out there in the world that don't know what Blog Talk Radio is. And if you are an avid listener of Blog Talk Radio, and especially the Living Raw Radio network here with Geeta, then I would suggest to you all to make sure that you have the opportunity to tell a friend and get them to sign up for Blog Talk Radio as a listener. And then while you both are listening together as a community, you can take your time and then take the opportunity then to spread that wealth even to another person. This radio program is archived, obviously, and not everybody can listen to it live, and we do appreciate everyone that can. But the biggest thing that we're trying to do here at Nosh Detox is to give our awareness of what we've learned over the last few years to you, and to bring in the best guests we can to give you knowledge that you can arm yourselves with to have a healthier, better life. And that's why we have it, the Living Raw Radio show, because we want you to be living raw. We want you to be living the life that you can to the fullest. And Geeta is an amazing person, and I've learned so much from her. And having the opportunity to be able to produce her shows is really a great opportunity for me to basically glean all that knowledge off of her directly and to put it into use in my own life. As you know, I live in the States, and we here across the pond, we have an opportunity to indulge ourselves in things that normally, you probably wouldn't want to indulge in, like fast foods and stuff like that. And I know back in the UK, fish and chips were my favorite. And, obviously drinking lots of beer and having fun with my friends. But, no, here in the States, it's even more rampant. It's terrible. So when I get an opportunity to meet Geeta and have an opportunity to taste her product and to use it, it was an enlightenment to my life. I've lost so much weight, and I've had an opportunity to become so much healthier for it. My white blood cells counts are way low now. My immune system's working so much better. And anyway, let's get to it, shall we? And I just want to make sure that everyone there understands that this is, like I said, not a live recording, but it is a recorded, and it has very, very useful tips and tricks that you can use to help you in how to lose weight. And this is Lunch with Angie. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to Lunch with Angie. I do hope you're well and enjoying this lovely sunny day. Today we're going to talk about why can't I lose weight? Now that's a bit of a tall order. As you know, we are all different. Some people can't lose weight for one reason. Some people can't lose weight for another reason. But we all have a starting point, and the starting point is to eat healthy meals throughout the day and to drink plenty of water and to exercise. So whatever our issues are on why we can't lose weight, we must always start with those health factors to get the ball rolling. Lifestyle and general physical influences have a role in weight gain. So I'm wondering, do any of you have the following factors? Do any of these factors I'm going to mention to you pertain to you? So, do you take steroids? Are you diabetic? Do you need to take certain pharmaceuticals, and have you had to take them for a long time? Do you suffer from stress? Are you trying to quit smoking? Are you overeating? Do you eat big portion sizes? Do you drink excess alcohol? Do you find that there isn't enough time to exercise? If any of those relate to you, then that could be a reason why you are not losing the weight. Have a good think about that, okay? Now, there are some general physical influences. For example, water retention. Water retention refers to an excessive buildup of fluid in the circulatory system, body tissues or cavities in the body, which can cause weight gain. So some people automatically know they've got water retention, and some people wouldn't know the difference between water tension and having gained weight through fatty deposits. Genes play a physical influence on the body. We're all responsible for our own choices to some point. Our ability to lose and maintain weight is determined by our genes. One of these genes causes the body not to produce enough leptin. Leptin helps you to feel satiated, and satiated means that you to feel full. What you can do is actually always have a small salad as a starter before your main meals, because the salad will help you to feel more satiated. Food intolerances. Now that can be an issue. For example, if you have a bit of a pooch, where your tummy sticks out a little bit, it's a bit distended. If you see that happening on a regular basis and you feel you are exercising regularly and you are eating well, then the distended tummy could be due to fluid retention caused by inflammation and the release of certain hormones. In addition, there is fermentation of foods in the intestines, which can result to a swollen, distended tummy. Mixing lots of foods together can irritate the tummy, which can cause bloating, and also certain allergies or intolerances can cause bloating. Your metabolism, that can be a big part. Thank you very much for the question that came through. The question was, I've been on a calorie counting diet for 10 days, eating 1,300 calories a day, and have only lost 1 pound. Is it the type of foods I'm eating? Well, the question to this is, yes, it could be, but it could also be your metabolism. Your metabolism turns your food and drinks you ingest into energy. A slow metabolism results in fewer calories burned each day. The fewer calories burned, the higher you risk for weight gain. So if you do have a slow metabolism, you will need to go on a healthy eating regime for longer than others to help you reach your health and weight goals. You do have to keep an eye on carbohydrates. However, carbohydrates are a very important food that we must eat on a daily basis, and one should never, ever not eat carbohydrates. It's all about the type of carbohydrates you eat. That is the key. Brown rice, lovely. With a salad and some lentils, you have a perfect meal there that gives you the essential proteins that you need for growth, repair, and mental capability. If you eat the wrong type of carbs, I'm sure we all know what the wrong type of carbs are, white bread, white pasta, too many biscuits, too much cake. If you do this on a daily basis, those carbs are going to only give you short bursts of energy, then your energy will drop and you will want to eat more to try and get a more sustained energy. But for example, if you eat brown rice, and short whole grain organic rice is the best rice to eat. If you eat short whole grain brown rice, that is great for sustaining energy, not putting weight on, and it's great for cleaning the bowels as well. So look at the carbs you're eating. Another great complex carb is fruit and vegetables, and juicing, fantastic. So yes, metabolism can play a big part in how long it will take you to lose your weight. Water retention also will play a part in that, and genes and food intolerances. Another physical influence would be hormones. If your ratio of progesterone to estrogen is disturbed, you can find that the excess estrogen causes fat to be stored in the abdominal area. That becomes more and more common in women maybe over 35. You will sometimes, if you become estrogen dominant for one reason or another, it can lead for your body, which can lead to a pear shape, also known as fat around the middle. So if you do feel that whatever you do to try and help yourself lose weight, whether it's eating 100% perfectly for weeks on end and exercising perfectly weeks on end, and you still have the fat around the middle, it might be worth going to your GP and asking for some tests. So go see your healthcare provider and say, please may I have a hormone test because I'm holding on to weight around the middle and it's not shifting. I'm wondering if it's related to my hormones. Once again, I can help you with that if you want. Just email me or call me. So yes, estrogen dominance. As your body struggles to maintain a hormone balance, your body fat becomes more valuable because estrogen is maintained by abdominal fat. So estrogen dominance can also cause the thyroid gland to become sluggish, which is becoming more and more common. In my clinic, I see regularly people who have just been diagnosed or are on the borderline of having a thyroid issue. And it is more common for it to be a low thyroid, a hypothyroid rather than hyperthyroid. So if you have a sluggish thyroid, it can turn to weight gain. So please do, if you need any help with that, do call me. Cortisol, also the stress hormone, tells the body to store fat. So excess cortisol causes weight gain and insulin resistance. High cortisol levels can occur when there is regular stress in your life. So you need to start maintaining your stress levels. If you find that you are somebody that tends to suffer from stress on a daily basis and it has been going on for a long time, you need to look into how you can maintain that stress, as in remove it from your life, maintain the way you act towards the stress. Change the way you do it and maintain that pattern so you don't keep on getting the stress, physical and mental feelings that will then create your adrenals to cause a cortisol issue, which will then lead to weight gain and insulin resistance. Make the changes to stress and it might help you lose the weight. The body has wonderful mechanisms that if you help it along, it will help you. Okay, has anybody ever said to you, well, you've been on a tube, would you like a seat, madam? If you are not pregnant and you have been offered a seat on the tube, this might just be a good indication that you have a gut issue. What do? Well, if there's pain as well as the bloating and excess weight, I would recommend you go to see your healthcare practitioner who can advise you on what tests would need to be done and how to eat to get to the bottom of what is causing a gut issue. I've noticed in my clinic that many a person has said to me when I say to them, how long have you had the gut issue? They say, oh, for years. I've just lived with it, really. I've tried this and I've tried that and it hasn't worked. If it's been an ongoing gut issue or weight around the middle or throughout the whole of your body, always go and see somebody in the know. It's highly important. Just looking things up on the internet is not the answer, because remember what I said at the beginning of this call, we are all different, okay? And your GP and your healthcare practitioner, your naturopath, whoever it is you want to see, will help you understand what is going on in your body and help you rectify it. With nutrition, it's not a therapy where you lie back and think of England. For example, acupuncture, massage. These are therapies where you actually don't have to do anything. With nutrition, you do. And that's where a lot of people have an issue. They need to understand that you will reap the rewards if you listen to your practitioner and you do what is asked of you. That is where you reap the rewards. Nutrition is therapy where you have to do something for yourself, and you will learn something about yourself as you go on that journey to heal yourself. when you see a GP, you might find out that your intestines are blocked for one reason or another, usually constipation. Colonics can sometimes help. That can ease the symptoms that you can have with a bloating tummy. Do send some questions through. I would absolutely love to hear from you. You can email them through and I will see them now and we can talk about it. Weight, when you put your mind to it and you understand your body, will come off. But it does take dedication from yourself. How do you start your day? Do you start your day by rushing around? Is that causing your cortisol to rise? Do you start your day by having a coffee, which acts as a diuretic on your body, which removes the nutrients from your body, which means you aren't getting the nutrients that will make you feel satiated, which will then make you feel hungry, and you will binge on the wrong foods? One of my favorite rules when it comes to weight loss is what is in your cupboard and fridge at home. If there's anything refined or sugary that isn't fruit, then it shouldn't be there. Your home is your sanctuary and keep it that way. Your body is a temple. Go into your mind regularly and focus on how you should look after that temple. Okay? What is in your fridge? Is cheese in there? Is milk in there? Is a cake in there? How much butter do you put on your bread? Maybe you should go for the non-hydrogenated margarine, organic, for a little while. What's in your cupboard? Do you have tinned fruit in your cupboard that has added sugar? Do you have other tinned foods that have added sugar? Do you buy the fridge soups, the ones that have a short fridge life, that have added cream and sugar? All of this can account to weight gain. When you go to a restaurant, do you accept the bread that comes to the table? Just say no. You can do it. Be brave and just move on from the bread. Bread can really cause weight gain on a regular basis. Croissants can cause weight gain. Are you having a latte? Are you having something similar to a latte? These can cause weight gain. Think about all the milk that is in there. Some people have some very unusual concoctions from some of the coffee shops now that actually have syrup in. That's a no-no in my book. Not only is it not going to help you lose weight, but it's actually very bad for your blood sugar level and very sticky on your insides. So try and avoid those type of drinks if you can. Start the day with freshly squeezed lemon juice in water. Not every day, but some days have that to drink. Maybe have a nice juice. Maybe have some juice days. Maybe have some soup days. Remember how you chew your food. If you chew your food slowly, it's known as soupy. If you get everything in your mouth almost into the state of soup, it's digested a lot better. It's assimilated through the body better. The nutrients are used, and when you use your nutrients in your body, you feel more satiated. If you're a person that craves chocolate, your body's telling you that it needs something, and you've trained your body to get it from the bar of chocolate, but it's the wrong source of nutrients. If you're craving the chocolate, you are more than likely needing to balance your minerals, balance your proteins, and certainly balance your essential fatty acids. If you get those nutrients in your body, keep at it. At some point, you will find that you will not be craving those bars of chocolate. And how many of you have a bar of chocolate in your home right now? And if any of you are thinking it's for the kids, because the kids shouldn't have it at home either. There's so many wonderful, sweet foods you can eat that are not manufactured confectionery. Now, as you know, it's known that there are certain chocolate bars that have 15 teaspoons of sugar in them. What is that doing to your and your children's insides? Even if it has 5 teaspoons in, what is it doing to you? We're a nation that are turning into obesity and into a diabetic epidemic. It is getting worse. Only us can take control of us as an individual. We have to take care of the children of the future and make sure that those foods are not in our house where we become more susceptible to heading towards the cookie jar, heading towards the fridge with the cakes in. If these foods are always in our home, we will eat them. Always keep your food at home nice and healthy. When you go to a restaurant, try and add the salad first to satiate yourself, to alkalize yourself. Look at your portion sizes. If you are eating big portions, have a good think about why you could be doing that. And is it a certain type of food you're heading to all the time? Because if it is, then your body is possibly lacking in a nutrient that it really needs, but you're heading it down the wrong path. So go back to your books. or go and see a nutritionist or a naturopath. Go and see somebody who will find out what it is that your body is lacking in, and that if you put that in your life, you will see a change. Now, none of these changes happen overnight. Remember, this isn't a therapy of lie back and think of England and, whoa, I feel great all of a sudden. This is a therapy where it takes time. Your body has to work on so much information. It has to get through barriers that we've created. Once these barriers have been broken down and the body can function better and the nutrients go into your body and you feel more satiated, you will not have those cravings so much. Cravings come when the body either has excess of something in it or not enough of something in it. If you keep giving yourself white wheat bread, your brain starts to think that's what it should always have. You need to retrain your brain. If your body keeps thinking it wants chocolate, your body is more than likely lacking in a nutrient. If you can make these changes, you will reap the rewards. And of course, exercise comes into weight loss. If you have tried exercising, let's say you've gone to the gym every day and it doesn't work for you, then maybe that's not the exercise that you should be doing. Maybe you should try a little bit of intense workout in short spurts. Maybe you should try Pilates, or maybe you should try yoga. Remember, what works for one doesn't necessarily work for another. Drinking water is really important to help flush out the system, flush out the excess xenoestrogens, flush out those excess hormones that we do not want to get held into your fatty deposits, okay? This is all very, very, very relevant to helping you feel more balanced. Your hormones play such a big part in balancing your weight. Okay, so thank you. Another question's come through. Does a gluten-free diet help with weight loss? That's a very good question, and I would say the answer is yes. The reason being is gluten is very much what it says in the packet, in the word gluten. Gluten is a little bit like wallpaper paste. It's like there's a little man inside your intestines coating your intestines with glue. Now, if you can imagine you've got that glue coating inside your intestines, how are you going to absorb your nutrients? You're not. And if you do, not as well as you'd like it to be. Okay, if you're not absorbing your nutrients, you will not feel satiated. And what will that make you do? Go and eat again. So excess gluten does not help. Remove the gluten for a little while and see if that does help. Now, another lovely question's come through. Do you advocate a vegetarian lifestyle? Actually, I do. And but only if you do it correctly. If you do not do a vegetarian lifestyle correctly, you will become ill and you can gain weight. If you do a vegetarian lifestyle correctly, your mind will be clearer, your bowels will be clearer, and it will help you lose weight. Okay? Now, some people do eat just a little bit of meat maybe once a week. That's fine as long as it's free range and organic. If it is not organic, as most of you know, growth hormones are injected into animals. You then eat the meat. Those growth hormones can affect your estrogen levels and other hormones, which on a long-term basis can cause weight gain. Unfortunately, it has been scientifically proven now that the younger generation, who unfortunately eat from takeaways on a regular basis from chicken and chip shops, they eat so much chicken on a weekly basis. Those chickens have been injected with the growth hormones. It is now affecting our youngsters' fertility. Okay, we're going back to the xenoestrogens, estrogen dominance. So the question was, do I advocate a vegetarian lifestyle? Yes, I do, as long as you do it correctly. Okay, if you need help with that, you're more than welcome to come for a consultation. Okay, I have another question here. Whoa, it's a long one, but let's see what we can do. Somebody says that they go to the gym most days and can't lose the fat tummy. Well, my love, basically everything I have said, if you put that into place, let's see what happens. Watch that space. Watch that tummy space and let's see it go. Okay, so this person went to the doctor and saw a nutritionist, and they all say her weight is okay. It says my weight is okay, my size and my age, but I'm not happy with that. Without seeing you, and I cannot judge, I'm afraid. If I could see you, then we could talk. So good luck, and I hope you lose the weight that you need to lose. It's important that we do not go underweight, because then you will become malnourished, okay? Do not starve yourself. Those diets do not work, okay? If you are somebody that stops eating lots and lots of foods, for example, carbs and good essential fatty acids for a long period of time, and then you reintroduce them, it's not a good diet. If you starve yourself, your body goes into starvation mode, and then it holds on to everything for dear life to make sure that you do not starve to death. It's a natural mechanism. That's why, very sadly, you see in third world countries children who are literally starving to death, who have pot bellies. Their body is frantically trying to hold on to whatever it is to give them the nutrients and to stop them from dying. So the point I want to make here is, please do not starve yourself. It is not the answer. The answer is to eat a well-balanced diet. And then if you know you are healthy and you have been eating well, you could go on a juice fast because it has all the nutrients in, and that will help. If you do have any questions, please do call or email, and when I have time I shall definitely answer your question for you. And please do keep sending in the questions while on the Lunch with Angie. I love them coming in so I can help you on a more personal level. I look forward to listening to you, speaking to you all next week. I can see another question has come through. I shall answer that on a personal level. Okay, so have a happy day and speak to you next week. Thank you. Bye.
Bloated? Is your energy levels really low? Do you find everything that you eat goes straight to fat? My name is Candice, and I am the naturopathic nutritionist at Nosh Detox. I'm here to tell you that your body needs a rest. If that sounds like you are ready to try a Nosh juice fast. A juice fast is the most natural way for your body to detox, while providing you all the life-saving minerals and vitamins that your body needs and craves. From beginners to advanced juices, we have all the options that may be available to you or suited to you. Call me on 0845 257 6674 or go to noshdetox.com and click on the right program for you. I'm right here to help you and support you. Thank you.
Nosh Detox is an award-winning company for your ultimate health improvement. Nosh Detox system works on all areas of the body, having dealt with thousands of clients whose health dramatically improved within days. For more details, visit noshdetox.com. noshdetox.com.
Good evening. This is Living Raw Radio, and this is your host, Geeta Sidhu Robb, coming to you this evening to talk about, we're going to talk about what we're really good at talking about. We're going to talk about the fact that people get stressed, and the more stressed they get, the more they look for a solution. And the more that they look for a solution, the more that you have to get raw in order to uncover the solution. I know, it sounds really corny, but you really do. You have to get down to what stresses you, what's causing the problem for you, what is it that doesn't work for you? Because if you can work that out, then you have a solution. You can implement it, you can make it work, and you can see what happens going forward. Now, sometimes that doesn't help you very much. So you look for other solutions and you think, okay, how about if I change this? How about if I change this? I mean, personally, I try chocolate biscuits quite often and thought, how about if I just try chocolate biscuits and I'll see if that works? And you know what? It didn't work. I was completely horrified. So then I had to go find something else. Cake didn't work either. And then I had to get serious. And I found that I had at different stages in my life to look for different things. So if you come to a person, like you have watersheds, I think. You have certain watersheds. They used to call it, it's a well-known phenomenon. They used to call it things like the 7 ages of man and that's why you have a teenage, you have a midlife crisis, because each element of life and aging that you go through kind of has its own trials, it has its own tribulations. And in modern life, where things change so much more than it did for our parents, for example, and for our grandparents, we have different life experiences we go through, and we have to find coping mechanisms to deal with all of these things. I mean, what was my watershed, if I think about it? Going to school is a watershed. Coming out of school is a watershed. Going to university is another one, right? And when you are looking at how your first date's a watershed. Your first relationship's a watershed. Your first divorce is really a watershed. The one that says, we're not going to do it again. There's lots of watersheds. I mean, what did you do to find your way through your watersheds? I don't know. I think that there are different things that you can and can't do. I found that, I was going to say, actually, that I read a lot, and I found that was my form of escapism, that if I could escape, then I find it easier to cope with the whole place. I have my best friend eats a lot. She looks at a stressful situation, and it looks back at her in the shape of food, frankly. She sits and eats her way through the entire process. My ex looked at stress, and back at him looked a bottle of whiskey, and that was kind of what worked for him. My teenage son looks at stress, and what looks back at him is his computer, and he thinks that's great. That's exactly how he wants to cope. So who are we to judge? I mean, whatever works, that's fine, because if it works for you and this is what works, I think you should do it. As long as it doesn't hurt anyone, doesn't cost you too much money, and you don't put on, too much weight, because buying a new wardrobe is deeply boring, then that's all good for me. The thing about change, really, is that in my experience, you tend to find that women embrace change a lot more, and they embrace it in their lives and their personas and in their friendships more. I'm not sure why that is. And I think that comes down to a couple of things. I think it's because they can talk to their friends and they say, I don't like this. I don't like where I am. I don't like how I feel. I don't like him. I don't like her. And you get instant feedback, because your friends will sit there and say, well, I like him. I like her. I think you're wrong. I think you're right. Let's go get drunk, or whatever it is that your friends say for you. But being able to air your emotions almost forces you into some kind of situation. It used to be that when you broke up marriages, it was almost always the women that left. And even now, I think it's unusual for them to leave relationships, because they tend to leave to go to someone else, whereas women will embrace change just for itself. So in Nosh today, we get a lot of women writing into us saying, I don't like what I'm doing and I want to change. I don't know how to do it. And when we ask them why they want to change or what they're doing, because, we deal with food, we deal with health, we deal with wellness, what we're saying to them is, what stresses you out right now? What stresses are you under? Why are you stressed? What's causing these problems? And we're finding that what they're saying is that they're finding it difficult to manage where they are today. And if they're finding it difficult to manage where they are today, they kind of think that if they go somewhere else, it will be easier for them to live with what they're doing. And, it's like, is it the turtle or the tortoise? You carry your back. You carry your whole life on your back. It goes where you're going. So you can change every situation you're in, but you're not going to change basically who you are, and you take yourself with yourself. So, I've always found that a really interesting concept. And I when I came from a really traditional background, and you kind of were supposed to do what you were meant to do, when you were meant to do it, and how you were meant to do it. And if you didn't do that, it was quite difficult. And I found that going through change for me was very hard, because I could only go through change on certain rules and regulations that I'd been taught. You have to do this, your family is this, you are this, your reputation is that, your behavior must be like that. And I kind of didn't get very far. I got to my early 20s and thought, this is just such rubbish. I can't cope with change and these regulations. One thing or the other has to go. Either I don't change and I slowly die, or I change, but then I can't do what I'm expected to do. And I don't know how many of you have felt like that, but I think it's a choice that we have to make again and again. And then if you're a woman, you've got to add to that the layer of being a mother. You've got to add to it the layer of being a wife or a partner, and the layer of being a friend. But those two things add a huge complexity to the situation, because whose happiness do you put first? Yours? Theirs? Somebody else's? We could find a random person to put their happiness first too. But it's like the British Airways, the airlines, when they have the oxygen mask. Who comes first? You put the mask on your face first, and then you go to help the person sitting next to you. And we don't do that as women. It's just not culturally bred into us. So we find ourselves putting up with huge amounts of stress. We find ourselves putting up with huge amounts of rubbish, and sometimes abuse, and sometimes difficulty. And you say, why are you doing that? Why are you living in this life? Why are you staying here? And you're saying, well, it's because it's for the kids. It's because I'm too scared to be on my own. It's because I don't know what I would do if I didn't have this to do. And I'm not judging that. I mean, I'm a really, I've done those things myself, and I'm a great believer in the fact that you should try and take the easy way out as long as possible, until suddenly you wake up one day and realize it's not the easy way out. And it's been really, really painful, because you had to pay consequences, unexpected consequences that you didn't think of. So you can stay in an unhappy marriage and not think that it makes any difference to you, but it is. It's making you sick. It's making your kids unhappy. It's bringing you out in a rash. Or you can be in a job you really hate. Your hair starts to fall out. You lose weight, or you gain loads of weight because you just eat so much. These are all things that we do as coping mechanisms. So my guest today is somebody who I find fascinating, because I went through a divorce, and I don't know what I think my coping mechanism was to yell really, really loudly for about a year and a half every time something went wrong. I dealt with it badly. I'm hoping the children will forget as they get older. And I worked all the time, because it just kept me busy. So I didn't have massively intelligent coping mechanisms, I don't think. But, there are people that find better ways to do it. There are people that can cope better. They look for other solutions. They look for how, they can work with their lives better. So today's guest is an amazing woman, and Emma went through personal trials and tribulations, and she was a mother, and she found that she just needed to find different strategies to cope with her life. And Emma became a Buddhist. Now, I'm Indian, and that never occurred to me. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know how to look to go and become a Buddhist, because there wasn't anybody in my vicinity of friends that was a Buddhist. So possibly that's why it never came up. But, and what does that mean? There were people that wear orange and sing, and there were people that don't do that, because, like, I employ a Buddhist who is deeply hip and trendy, and she's 26. And so where in that would I have found some comfort? I don't know, but I know a woman who does. And Emma will come on, and hopefully is out there, and is going to come and have a chat with us about this. Is Emma there?
Hi, I am here. Hello.
Yay! There was a minute there where I thought, oh my God, I've lost Emma.
No, I'm here.
Hi. Did you get to hear some of my intro?
I did. I heard all of it, and it's great. It was great.
Well, no, it was a very round segue around this happens to everyone.
Yeah.
And yet, can you tell me a little bit, because you were an actor when you were younger, right?
Yes, I started acting, I think, at about 18. And I was very fortunate. I did a lot of telly and film, and I was with the National for a year. And then my husband and I split up. And because I was always filming away, I just decided that, I had 2 small children, and I didn't want to leave them. So I was very fortunate that voiceovers for TV and radio commercials took over. And I was able to do that.
Sorry, say that again, Emma. What took over?
Voiceovers.
Voiceovers took over?
Yeah, voiceovers for radio and TV commercials.
But you make that sound effortless. Sorry, there's a whole story in there. So you were acting and you were traveling a lot.
I was acting, and I was, because you go on location, and I had actually, because the children were quite little, I actually tried to wind down doing as much, because I wanted to be at home with them. And
how old were they?
Oh, well, when my husband and I separated, my son was 3, and my daughter Sadie was 4.5, nearly 5. So they were very little. And
that's really tiny, isn't it?
That's very tiny. That's very little. So I just, I wasn't happy at the time, so I didn't really want to go off and leave them. And I kind of needed to be at home with them. So I was able, luckily, amazingly, fortunately, I did a voiceover for a TV commercial just as a test for someone, and the client
What made you think of it? They just came and said, would you do a voiceover for this?
They said, they just said, would I do this test for them? So I did, but the clients liked it, and they used it. So I thought, oh gosh, that's quite good. That's a good way of earning a bit of money, staying in the business, but actually just popping up to London, because we lived in the country, popping up and down from London and not actually being away from the kids. So it was great.
Oh, fantastic. And how long for example, voiceovers, how long is a job? Is it like an hour, half an hour? Is it longer? And how often would you work in a week?
Well, you get booked for an hour, and sometimes a bit more. But generally, you're out in about 20 minutes. And I guess, oh, I know. I mean, amazing. You have no responsibility other than walking in, doing the best you can do in that time, and doing what you hope they want, and then leaving, and then thinking, thank you. It's a terrific thing to do, and it's also keeping your hand in, with work. And I suppose, I was up in London most days working, which is lovely. So yeah, very fortunate to be doing that.
Oh, that's just amazing. Well, it's not like often that you get a voiceover artist anywhere near you, so I just thought I'd take the opportunity to find out how it works. It's got to be the most unusual profession.
I know, it's a silly job, really, because you kind of, especially, well, for me, as I live in the country, it takes me an hour and a half maybe sometimes to get into London. I'm there for 20 minutes, do my day's work, and I'm out again. And it's terrific. I mean, I'm really fortunate, really, really fortunate. And I love doing it. And you meet some lovely people, and it's fun.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. Well, yes, I'm going to look up some voiceover agencies tomorrow morning as soon as, as soon as we start, and see how that whole thing works. I think it's a really good idea. And you have a really melodious voice.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, my father is a broadcaster, and has been for many, many years, and is still, at the age of nearly 87, still has a radio show with Radio 2. And so I think it's in the family that we have, we're lucky we can have a voice that we can use, so that.
Yeah, and also you've got the background, haven't you? So you're all kind of in the same thing, and it doesn't hold that much terror.
That's right. Fantastic. That's right. Well, sometimes it does. It depends what you're doing. Sometimes you can be doing something and it's a bit terrifying, but not normally.
So we're going to go to break in about a minute, and I just wanted, before we go, tell me, so really what we're talking, I mean, and it is personal, and so if there's anything that you feel is too personal, tell me to get stuffed. But I just want to understand how you clearly went, when did you first become a Buddhist? And really why? Could you just give me an idea of the circumstances leading up to you thinking, okay, this is something I'm now going to think about?
Well, my sister, Joanna, she practiced Buddhism for about 5 or 6 years before I started. And I always thought, wonderful for Jo, terrific, but, no thank you, not for me.
Why did you think that?
Well, I don't really know. I think ignorance, and also my life was, going along very nicely, and everything was, I don't think I felt I had a need for it. I've never really been a particularly religious person. Our background is we're Jewish, but I've never really felt that I was anything really. I was just sort of part of the universe. And but when my husband and I split up, and actually, you talking earlier about that it's normally, I think you said it's very often the woman that leaves, or the man leaves if there is somebody else, and that is what happened. That's what happened with me. My ex left.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, actually, turns out to be one of the best things that could have ever happened. But
yes, I feel like that too.
Yeah, but at the time, it was really, really tough. And I had these 2 gorgeous little people, my son and daughter, my oldest son and daughter. And so, anyway, I was in a bad way. I wasn't quite sure why we'd split up, and I also thought, was he coming back? Or I really didn't know, and I was in a bad way. And my sister Joanna said to me, Emma, if you want to change your life, chant Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. And I thought, okay, I'll do anything, I'll do whatever. So
okay. Say just do me a favor and say that again, but slowly.
The chant.
The chant.
Yeah, it's Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, and you just chant that over and over again.
And how did it feel when you first started doing it? Did you feel silly?
Yes, I felt really silly. Actually, to be completely honest, what I did first of all was I have a horse, and I would go out on my horse, and I would be riding through the woods, nobody else around, so I would be chanting on my horse. And then I thought, and I'd also be doing it in the car, and I'd be sitting in a traffic jam, and I'd be sitting there chanting. And then I thought, actually, it would be a really good idea if I could just sit still somewhere and just chant, not moving, not riding, not driving. And I did. I don't think it was silly. I felt self-conscious, I think, to begin with.
Yeah. I think that's what I meant. I felt silly, meaning.
Yes. No. I know what you meant. Yeah, and you're right. It's sort of you do feel kind of self-conscious. However, the effect it had on my life very quickly was so tremendous that I soon kind of learned more about the practice and what the actual practice involved. And, it did and has. I mean, there's no way 23 years later I'd still be practicing if I hadn't had the most amazing benefit and changes in my life, and know that that's also affected other people, because it's not just for oneself. It's like
you're a mother. It's everybody around you, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like you throw the pebble in the pond and you get the ripple effect.
Oh my God! So we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to find out actually what literal effects it had in your life, and I'm going to make you do that chant thing again, because I liked how it made me feel. It vibrated inside when you said it. So it's Living Raw Radio, and this is your host, Geeta Sidhu Robb, with Emma, who's going to do a chant again when we come back. Thank you, and we'll speak to you in a second.
Do you feel sluggish? Do you feel bloated? Is your energy levels really low? Do you find everything that you eat goes straight to fat? My name is Candice, and I am the naturopathic nutritionist at Nosh Detox. I am here to tell you that your body needs a rest. If that sounds like you are ready to try a Nosh juice fast. A juice fast is the most natural way for your body to detox, while providing you all the life-saving minerals and vitamins that your body needs and craves. From beginners to advanced juices, we have all the options that may be available to you or suited to you. Call me on 0845 257 6674 or go to noshdetox.com and click on the right program for you. I'm right here to help you and support you. Thank you.
Nosh Detox is an award-winning company for your ultimate health improvement. Nosh Detox system works on all areas of the body, having dealt with thousands of clients whose health dramatically improved within days. For more details, visit noshdetox.com. noshdetox.com.
Welcome back, and it's Living Raw Radio with your host, Geeta Sidhu Robb. And with me tonight, I have a brilliant woman called Emma. And Emma is talking to me about, well, Emma, I was going to say, because I've got you down as Emma Jacobs, but you're also Emma Gregson-Williams.
Yes.
Which one do you prefer? Or is it just that one's your married name and one's your working name?
Exactly. Jacobs is my working name, and Gregson-Williams is my married name. So
cool.
I put either.
And so we're talking about how you turned into Buddhism, basically, from feeling really, really, lost and bereft and a very difficult time for you when you were there with two small children, and because your sister was a Buddhist. And you did that chant. I mean, you said the words, which I thought were really interesting. I wanted to get you to say them again. But what I was finding really interesting is that you said that when you saw your sister as a Buddhist, there was a place where you just thought, gosh, no, not me. But did you ever, I mean, it's not like you visibly see signs of Buddhism, is it? Because as you said, you aren't the people that wear the orange rose and things. So how did your sister's Buddhism manifest itself for you to understand she was Buddhist, if that makes sense?
I think actually what it was that I didn't really know an awful lot about it. It was out of total ignorance. And I think it was, she'd go to meetings, I think, because there's so many people actually in Britain that practice this Buddhism, as there are all over the world. And you go to meetings and you can go to, there are all sorts of things happening that you can go to. And I think I just thought, I don't know, I did see that her life had really opened up and things were moving and happening the way she wanted them to. So that was all great. But I think I don't think it was really on a reflection of Joanna. I think it was more a reflection on me, thinking my life's great as it is. I don't need anything. And you kind of don't know what's around the corner. So, or I certainly didn't.
Yeah.
So I think that it was actually, yes, it was more a reflection of me, not Joanna.
So are there different kinds of Buddhism?
There are loads of different kinds of Buddhism, actually. Buddhism is quite an umbrella word, and I think a lot of people, understandably, think of Buddhism as the people who will shave their heads, wear, orange robes and be a monk.
I mean, I have to say, as I keep saying, I'm Indian, so in theory you'd expect me to know more, and I don't, frankly. I mean, I know that there are Buddhists that do the Indian chant, the orange robe chanting thing, and then I have my designer who's been Buddhist since she was 16 and is vegetarian, and that's the only manifestation. So what kind of Buddhist are you, and what is there a difference between the various kinds of Buddhists?
Well, there
that's
is.
a stupid question. Clearly, there are differences. I suppose I'm asking, what's the difference with you? And is it a sect, or is it a what do you call it?
It's an organization called the Soka Gakkai, which is Value Creating Society. And and we are the back in sort of 1222, this wonderful man called Nichiren Daishonin, who is somebody that we read all his readings, and everything that he wrote back then kind of really works for us all now. And there are lots of letters he wrote to his followers then, and it's extraordinary. But it's very much for anybody and everybody, from lawyers, doctors, road sweepers, actresses, housewives.
It's a great leveler.
It is absolutely. So it's a great leveler, and it's it's. I think what attracted me most of all to it is this practice is about responsibility 100% for your own life, and I think very often we go through life kind of blaming other people, other things for a situation, whatever that situation might be. If it hadn't have been for him, or if it hadn't been for her, this wouldn't have happened, or, whether it's in a relationship of any sort or anything really. And actually, really it's down to us. And I think that's what really appealed to me, rather than praying to a god or to something. This Buddhism is all about you and taking responsibility for your own life.
Now, why would that make you feel better? Surely, if you're feeling really appallingly bad and you've been left and you've got 2 small kids, doesn't it just make you feel better to want to kill people?
No, actually, it kind of empowered me, thinking, actually, I changed my life. I don't.
Actually, say that last bit again.
I was saying that it empowered me, because I then thought, I can change my own life. I can be in the driving seat. I can do this. It's down to me. And actually, my sister gave me this just sort of 6 lines of something that the president of our organization, who is in Japan, he wrote something, and Joanna found it and gave it to me. Can I read it to you?
Yes, please. I'd love you to. If I ask you to repeat something, it's just because there's a little bit of static, and it would be lovely. We can clean that up later, but it'd be lovely to hear it all.
Okay. It is, anyone would think that victory is impossible, and that's probably how you feel right now. But don't forget this marvelous Gehonzen we have. It has the power to transform what you'd normally think impossible into something possible. Those who give up before they try, thinking that it's impossible, don't really know the power of the mystic law. Only people who can bring forth the mystic law's power can succeed at anything they try. And that's made me think, I'll have a bit of that.
Wow, that's awesome.
And
you sort of want to put that up on a wall and look at it every day, don't you?
I know. I did for quite some time. I did look at it every day, thinking, I can change my life. I can be happy, because that's what we all want to be, is happy, and create happiness for others.
So you looked and thought, okay, here I am, and I'm not. But that takes a lot of courage. It did, because in order for you to work out, you had to stop and think, I'm miserable, I'm unhappy, and not use any stress avoidance tactics. Which, as I said in the beginning, frankly, I did try chocolate, and then I moved on to cake, and I found that none of it really helped, but I made a dedicated effort. So you were really brave. And I think you're glossing over that because you sort of looked at it and thought, no, I'm really miserable and I don't like this. And there must be a way to make me feel better. And as so often happens, then the universe does give you something that you think, okay, I can do this now. But you still took charge, didn't you? And that's from you. You took that first step.
I did. And I think it was because I just felt that, well, my mother and my father divorced when I was quite young. And my mother's mother their marriage wasn't very happy. And also a very big thing in our Buddhism is about karma, about things that you typically done in the past, you will reap the benefits or not benefits, at some point. And it's about changing one's karma, because you don't know what you did in your last lifetime, for instance. And, there is a saying in Buddhism, if you want to know what your last life was like, look at your life now. So if you're suffering in one particular area in your life, then maybe in your last lifetime, for instance, or maybe in this lifetime, maybe you haven't made some very good causes. So in that area. So I thought, well, there is a theme here. And my sister also, she had split up from the father of her 2 children. And I just thought there is very much a theme running through this, our family. And I thought, I have got to change it. I have absolutely got to change it.
That's amazing. So what you did is you looked at this and you thought, right, hang on a sec. I'm looking at all of this and I actually refute this. I've decided that this is not going to be my life. And you kind of drew a line in the sand and thought, I'm going to try and change this.
I did, but I have to say, there was an awful lot of stress and there was an awful lot of unhappiness. And, it wasn't that I was this warrior that was like, I could just get on with my life. I was deeply, I was sort of, broken, really. And so...
Well, because you would have been, because if someone leads you, what you end up doing is questioning what you did wrong, don't you?
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter if you didn't do anything wrong. It's almost better if they leave someone than for no one, because if there's at least someone, you can find somebody to blame almost. But if you get left, you're never going to look, you're always going to kind of, and then you get wary of relationships, because you think, well, if I have another relationship, will you leave too? Am I prepared to commit to this, knowing that this might happen? And then you go through with sort of one eye closed, always thinking, I'm not going to commit 100%, I'm not going to commit 100%.
Yes, no, you're absolutely right, and because you can take sort of a lot of luggage with you through life that you might not actually want to take. So I just really felt, I just knew that if there is wonderful Buddhist practice that can change your life, and that you can get into the driving seat, and it changes your life, and it can really affect all the people around you, I thought, well, I'm going to go for it because I've got nothing to lose. And I thought, well, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I did instantly, as I started chanting, I really did feel the difference in my life. I mean, I used to be very much, which I kind of still am, but I can keep a lid on it a bit. I'm very ruled by my heart.
Sorry, just say that last bit again. You're very what with your heart?
I'm very ruled. My heart rules my life sometimes. My heart, I'm very, and I very quickly started to be able to use my sort of wisdom rather than just my heart. And that for me was huge because I felt more in control. And then of course the minute you change or one changes, your environment changes. Things change.
And it's almost a miracle, isn't it, how that happens?
It is, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely right. It's fantastic.
It's also the speed with which it happens is the thing that I'm often left gasping, because I sort of think, hang on a minute, I was there and then, that, right?
Yeah, it does. And I mean, for a long time, I was hoping that my marriage my husband and I would get back together again. And but I kept being shown things. I kept finding things out or being shown things that were sort of saying, well, are you sure you really want this? Because look at this. And because I didn't really understand, I didn't understand what was quite going on. So I felt with the practice, with my chanting, and there, I felt that it was really kind of showing me this is really what you want. And of course, in the end, after quite a long time, but I really got there. I realized, no, this is absolutely not what I want, and I felt so incredibly fortunate that, and that was a huge turnaround. That from where I started from.
There's a place where you looked around and thought, no, wouldn't have you back if you came back. Covered in honey, sprinkled with chocolate, carrying marshmallows.
And the thing about the practice is that you chant for what you really, there's things that you really need and want in life. You can really chant for them. It might not happen the way you think it will.
Tell me how that works. What does that mean? You can chant for the things that you want in life.
Well, the practice is that you have practice. The whole practice it's like the faith, practice, and study. And faith is something that you gain, and practice is you chant and you take part in meetings and things, and then you study, because obviously that, and because there's lots of writings that Nichiren Daishonin, who I mentioned earlier, wrote to his followers, who the samurais at the time and various people back in 1200 and whatever, and but the practice is you chant, and it opens up your life, and you kind of get this out. This might sound all a bit sort of airy-fairy, but
no, I'm so with you on this.
Well, you get into kind of the rhythm of life, really. It kind of, it's like if you're off the railway tracks. Sometimes you feel like your life is off the railway tracks. Well, this puts your life back on, and so for others. If you have somebody who's ill in your family, or if you're not well, or
so Emma, so hang on, sorry to interrupt. So what you're saying is that, for example, that if I'm worrying about something, like I don't know, I have a teenage whose son who's going to go into O levels or something, and can I? And it is very prosaic, I agree, but on the other hand, that's a huge issue for me, because it matters to me how he does. I think I care more than he does. In fact, I'm pretty positive about that. Right. If I sit here and instead of worrying about it, I can be holding an intention for his best good to come to him, or for him to be happy and well and all that, and to do well. I'm Indian. It would have to be holding the intention for him to do well. I think otherwise I'd probably die of shock. And then I would chant for that.
Yes, you can chant for anything you want, and anything you want in life. And there are two kinds of benefits. You get the job, you get the boyfriend, you get the house, you get the car, whatever it is. But there's the non-conspicuous benefits, which are actually the more important ones, which are the changes, the sort of human revolution that we call, the real things that you change in our lives, that are deep in our lives. Like I am now, for instance, I'm really, really happy and in my marriage, and I've got a wonderful marriage now.
Yeah, I'm going to come to that. I'm going to go to another break, and then I'm going to talk to you. What I was going to ask you, actually, was if you could think, I want to go to a break, and when we come back, do you have, say, 3 or 4 things that you can point to and say categorically, I can say this, this, and this? These are the things that would never have happened without this, or in this wonderful way.
Yes,
would you do that?
I would. Thank you.
Fabulous. So it's Living Raw Radio. We're going to go for a break, and Emma and I are going to be back in just a minute or so. Speak to you soon.
sluggish? Do you feel bloated? Is your energy levels really low? Do you find everything that you eat goes straight to fat? My name is Candice, and I am the naturopathic nutritionist at Nosh Detox. I am here to tell you that your body needs a rest. If that sounds like you are ready to try a Nosh juice fast. A juice fast is the most natural way for your body to detox, while providing you all the life-saving minerals and vitamins that your body needs and craves. From beginners to advanced juices, we have all the options that may be available to you or suited to you. Call me on 0845 257 6674 or go to noshdetox.com and click on the right program for you. I'm right here to help you and support you. Thank you.
Nosh Detox is an award-winning company for your ultimate health improvement. Nosh Detox system works on all areas of the body, having dealt with thousands of clients whose health dramatically improved within days. For more details, visit noshdetox.com. noshdetox.com.
So it's Living Raw Radio, and it's Geeta Sidhu Robb, your host, and I'm here with Emma. And Emma and I are having seriously the best time here, because what we've done is we've been talking about Buddhism. We're talking about something how many people out there, tell me one of you that will put your hand up and go, yeah, I really know. Well, okay, one of you will. That was a bad example. Let's just say lots of you. I'm just hanging myself here. You just don't know about it. You know people that are Buddhists, but how often you manage to collar someone and talk to them who are as interesting as Emma and who have the nicest voice. I have to keep reminding myself I'm not meant to float off while I'm listening to her, because that's bad. Now, what we're going to do is that we're going to have a chat with Emma now about, she's got like 3 or 4 specific things that she thinks made a difference, that were made different in her life just because of her being a Buddhist and because of her chanting. And I've tried a lot of self-help things. I try a lot of different things because I believe that there are many, many routes to wherever we're trying to go. And I find it remarkable and I find it impressive that someone can say, look, this thing that I do